So in this video, I wanted to talk about the Burger King employee that went viral for running the store by herself. If you have already seen the clip, you can skip the video to 154.
I be missing out on my kids' life and I work a lot. So I be having to provide for them and I really don't be having time to spend with them. And it hurts me a lot.
Nakia Hamilton is a single mother of 3 here in Colombia. She works 12 hours plus to provide for her children, even if that means doing it all by herself at this Burger King on Broad River Road.
One of my employees just quit on me and they ain't had nobody else to come in. So I had to work by myself, had to close by myself, had to do the dishes, do prep, do the floor, do front counter, drive through. Though I end up shutting down drive through and let people come in because it's too much trying to run and take orders and got to run back. So
y'all need to get her some help up in here because she busted her behind. She's doing everything she needs to do to make sure everybody is okay up in here.
In this TikTok video, you can see Hamilton working by herself, and thousands of people on social media had questions.
And then last night I closed again by myself last night. I finally got help today. And she been here since 11 o'clock. She about to close with us at 11. So we just ain't got no employees. Nobody want to work no more.
Still, even after what happened here that day, Hamilton says she's doing it all for her children and thanks her manager for giving her the job.
I wouldn't have no job because I do have a record. And it's hard to find a job with a record. And by grace of God, she gave me a job. So that's the only reason why I stayed for her.
Stay up to date with this story and more. Subscribe to our Watch Fox YouTube page. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to never miss an update.
Nakia Hamilton is a single mother. She's working at a Burger King. And at this Burger King, she's currently working by herself because one of her employees quit on her. And she said that she doesn't have enough time to spend with her kids because she works 12 hours every day. And as somebody who's been in the restaurant industry for about 6 years, I can relate. I remember working at jobs who did this, such as Boston Market, Wendy's, Planet Smoothie, and a couple years ago, back in 2020, October of 2020, I got hired at Boston Market. And when I first got there, I actually liked the job. I didn't work that many days, only had 3 days, but eventually, once November came, around Thanksgiving, that's like our really busiest day. And so we worked and had more hours. And sometimes we had more work to do, and but in November and December we actually had more people. But after January, well, I guess after New Year's, we start losing people because the people we did have were seasonal. And so after that, I used to get there around like 8:30, and it would be me and another person, only 2 people open, and I was like, we have to like run the store for about like 9 hours because everybody else can come in to like 5 p.m. and I had worked 8:30 to 4. And with Boston Market, it sucked because they want you to do everything. They like to cross train people because they don't like having too many people on the clock. They're so worried about labor. And back then in Boston Market, I was only getting paid $10 an hour, and I had to do everything. I had washed dishes, I had to prep, I had cook food, I had to serve, cashier, carving, and it was a lot to do. And like I said, it was only $10 an hour, and they want you to do everything. And I said that it sucked because I did everything for $10, and eventually, they started cutting back on hours because they said we supposedly wasn't too busy. So I had quit Boston Market, and I had went to Planet Smoothie. And Planet Smoothie, it wasn't bad, and it was a small kind of restaurant. We mostly just made smoothies and acai bowls. But that was another restaurant that only paid $10. And at that restaurant, I had to make smoothies, had to cash out people. I did food prep, did the dishes, count the inventory. It was a lot. It was crazy. I had to, work long hours, and most time I had to close by myself because the teens, they had to leave early because, teenagers have curfew. It's like I hated that, but like I said, it wasn't bad because it was a small restaurant, like in a plaza, but it's still a lot of work to do. And I said I was in there a long time cleaning. I had to sweep, mop, count the inventory, do dishes, count the drawer, make sure everything was nice and clean for the opening manager. And sometimes I hated being there alone by myself because it was like a weird neighborhood. And so I would ask my mother, could she come inside and just sit there with me because I hated being there alone. I said eventually I had quit there. And of course I worked at Wendy's, and I actually have a video of my experience there. I have it up if you want to check it out. But Wendy's wasn't no better. When I said Wendy's, we was also short staffed. And I remember there would be days where, at this job, we had Tomas, and he just didn't know how to make a schedule. But like we had people, but he would schedule people on days where he had a lot of people, and there's some days where he had nobody at all. And I noticed one day we didn't have nobody to come in, and it was just me and another employee. Her name was Percy. And me and Percy was working. Percy was doing drive-through, and she was making drinks, bagging up order. She had to, get fries. I was on sandwiches, and I also was on grill, and I had to do front counter. And I said that, the manager didn't come to 4 o'clock, but the opening manager that we had at Wendy's, her name was Tanesia. And her and her mother, they both opened, but they were supposed to leave at 2, but they decided to stay till 3, thank God. And I said, Tanesia, once Tanesia left, we had our closing manager, Talisha. And even Talisha couldn't believe that Thomas only had 2 people on the clock. And this wasn't the first time this happened. I remember it was another time where it was just me, and I had to work by myself. Actually, I hated that day. That day I had to do the drive-through, make drinks. I had to bag up orders, make fries. I also was doing sandwiches, grill. I was doing everything by myself. And I remember because it was Tuesday, and I was like, nobody really works on Tuesday. I guess everybody's unavailable. But I said it's a lot to do. And at Wendy's, they did pay a little bit more than both Boston Market and Planet Smoothie. They paid $12 at Wendy's, which was a little better, but still was a lot of work. And what sucks about Wendy's, they didn't really give me they didn't give me enough pay. And I had asked them for a raise, and they only gave me 50 cents. I guess that's better than nothing, but I was hoping to get 13 because, the new people that they hired was getting 13 while, I've been working there for 2 years, and they only gave me 50 cents. And I had told them, I was like, why can't I get 13? I was like, I've been working here longer than, the new people, and they get paid more than me, and that's not fair. And not only that, they would not, promote me because I was begging to be a team trainer. And I was like, why can't I be a team trainer? I know how to do everything. And I would have been a manager too. But at the same time, I don't think I really wanted to be a manager because they don't really give the manager raises either. Because I had a manager at my Wendy's. His name was Equan. And he told me that Wendy's only gave him a 30-cent raise when he became a manager. And I was like, that sucked. Because usually when you're a manager, they usually give you like $1 more. But at Wendy's, you know, I had another manager named Dominique. And she told me that, you know, Wendy's rarely give out raises, you know. And, you know, if they do, they kind of suck. They, you know, ask for more pay, ask to get promoted, and they refuse to do it. So I had quit. But I eventually did come back to Wendy's, but you know, work on a location, and then that's how I finally got my 13. But it sucks I had to quit Wendy's and come back to get my raise. But yeah, like I said, at these restaurants that they, you know, they overwork their employees, and we're overworked and we're underpaid, and you know, they want you to do all this work. They give you, and sometimes they give you more stuff to do. They add on extra crap for you to do, but they don't give you more money, or they won't promote you. And you know, I said I had got tired. I said after I left Wendy's, you know, I went to the other Wendy's, and I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and I said, you know, I said I hate doing restaurant work, but at least I have a job. I thank God I have a job. And you know, I said that's too stressful. Restaurant work is too stressful. So I said that I'm going to try to find a job like at a grocery store, retail, where I won't have to, you know, work as much. And I know that grocery stores and retail is a lot of work too, but I will say it is. And with the restaurant industry, like I said, I've been through a lot, so you know, I can relate to this woman. I understand. And you know, there have been other co-workers that I have worked with that have been in the same boat. Like I said, I had another employee. Her name was Dominique, and she worked at another Wendy's on the south side, and she was the only one working for like 4 hours, because she had to open, which most people that prep and get the store ready before it opens, they have to be there at 5 o'clock. And so she was there from 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 a.m. in the morning by herself. And so she had asked, I guess, the district manager to transfer her to our store. And in our store, we do have a little bit more people than the store she came from, but it's not enough, because, like I said, sometimes it'd be like just one person working by themselves, or it would be like two. And I said, with our store is like the busiest Wendy's in the city. So it's important that we have at least about 6 or more people on the clock. But you know, we got some don't either know how to make a schedule, or they refuse to hire more people because, you know, labor, they're so worried about labor and crap. Kia Hamilton, you know, she said, she's thankful she have a job. And you know, it's good to have a job, because you know, we have to, you know, pay our bills. There are so many people, you know, out of work right now. A lot of people don't like the job, but they stay there because, you know, they have to pay bills and they have to take care of their family. But I hope in the future that, you know, Akia gets to, you know, maybe a raise, or maybe she can get promoted to, you know, general manager or district manager, because she deserves it. It would be possible, you know, if she could find another job that pays more, and you know, maybe she won't have to work as much. But I know that she said that she had a record, so you know, the lady that hired, you know, gave her a chance, and so that's why she's grateful. And so I get it, but it's like I hope she finds better in the future. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this video. But please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.